All right, I'd like to call this April 17th meeting of the Fridley School Board to order. If you could all rise, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me.
I want to hear us sing the national anthem. Come on.
They did the anthem at the hockey game tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you need the key for the national anthem for you?
I can do it. I actually sing that. Do I have an approval of the agenda for the evening?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Pruito. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carried. We'll start out with our spotlight on recognition, and I will turn it over to Dr. Flaffman for
Thank
that.
you. Tonight, we are celebrating Jill Fight, who is Employee of the Month for April 2018, and I'm really sorry you don't see this lovely picture of her, but we might get it up here. Congratulations to Jill. She is a Title I professional at Stevenson. Her job consists of working with students. Ooh, there she is. She is the lady, the strawberry. Okay, Jill's the strawberry. She is a person who's working with reading intervention services, collecting data so that teachers can make informed decisions about instruction. She is described by your peers as one of the most kind and caring individuals we've ever had the pleasure of working with. She's committed to the kids she works with, always willing to accept any task at hand. She is kind-hearted, a collaborative with her team, and very creative individual who takes strong leadership roles throughout the building. Jill and her husband Sonny have 3 boys, and the Fight Boys, and we are graduating the third of the Fight Boys this year, are longtime residents of Fridley, so congratulations to Jill as April Employee of the Month.
Great. I'll have to call her Strawberry next time I see her. Superintendent and staff reports. I'd like to invite up Principal Amy Cochran.
She has her sidekick with her too, maybe, huh?
Does.
Oh.
They're going to give a Fridley Middle School presentation. And they're not dressed alike.
We made sure last night. This is what I'm wearing today. You may not wear this. So our presentation tonight is a little bit different. We, over the last couple weeks, have had the opportunity to do this presentation a couple times. So we spent right before spring break putting together this presentation for our staff as really a fun way to celebrate the first half of the school year. And so we talked about all of the things that have been really amazing this year, especially through some of our hardships with some things that have happened in the building. We really wanted to kind of celebrate all the really positive things that have happened. So we put this together, did a big celebration day with our staff, and then last Wednesday night, we had our parent advisory meeting, and we decided this would be a really great opportunity to share with families the same things that we were celebrating with our staff. So we did this same presentation for our families last week at our parent advisory meeting, took the time to highlight all of the really amazing things that have happened this school year, and then talked about some changes for next year. So although the presentation is really truly 60 slides, we promise we will not do 60 slides with you.
See a few one-word slides.
Yes,
so
we are
that's
going to be very
encouraging.
fast. So we're going to be clicking through really quickly just in order to be able to advance them. So the things that we highlighted for this school year specifically focus on academics. Some of our performing arts are our assemblies, our Tiger Grit, which is our positive behavior intervention program, parent involvement, field trips, and community involvement. All right, so I'm going to really just talk about the first slide, which are things that are very unique to this school year, and then I will just click through the pictures of the other slides so you can see what they are, okay? All right, so the first one is a mentorship, and with Mr. Brunitsky moving to the high school, it allowed us to have a really cool opportunity for our high school students, some ninth graders, to come over to the middle school and to mentor some 8th and 5th grade students. So that happened in the fall, and here's some pictures of them hanging outside, doing some stuff during PE class. AVID. This is our St. Cloud Math Contest, our American Indian Education, our coffee cart, our Tower of Books, Math Corps, Inventors Fair, History Day Junior, Chinese Culture Day, Lifeboats, Learning Academy, which has expanded quite greatly on our session 2, CLR, and then Performing Arts and Assemblies. So this year we were able to have Reggie Dabbs come speak to our 7th and 8th grade students. So this happened during Super Bowl week through partnership with a local church. He really came and talked about his upbringing and many of the obstacles that he has had to overcome to be a successful adult. He is a really talented, I can't remember what this instrument is, but he's amazing. And the kids were like hanging on every last word, so.
It looks like an English horn.
Our Veterans Day program, our theater program, our coffee concert, one of our many band concerts, choir concerts, parent involvement. So we hosted a Somali parent night. This was in partnership with the Somali American Parent Association. Alota Sims and I reached out to them, and they came in and had a really fun night of engagement with our Somali parents. We're hoping to continue our partnership with them so we can engage our Somali families in schools more. Our African American Parent Involvement Day, EL Family Night, and our Tiger Grit Positive Behavior Reinforcement. We have started Walking Wednesdays. So when students come to school, during homeroom, they check in, and then everyone in the entire school building walks. So teachers walk, students walk, and it's just a really great way in the morning to get some exercise, connect with each other, really show students what the expectations are in the hallway, and how to just be good citizens in the morning. We have done a couple grit assemblies, a grit door contest, our new store open from the construction. Our peer helpers are going strong. This one is field trips. So this one is our STEM field trip, and 53 of our students were able to participate in a STEM field trip at Dunwoody College. They were participating in things like creating a bridge to avoid flooding or designing systems to clean up oil spills. They were super excited and came back and told us lots of fun facts that they learned, and they had a really engaging day. Our Springbrook Nature Center trips, Model Assembly, Festival of Nations, and this one is community involvement. So this is really focusing on our PALS program, the Police Athletic League. We've had 5th through 7th grade students participating in this program this school year. In the fall, they started out with soccer. In the winter, they did like a gaming where they went and learned how to play pool. They went to the movie theater. And then in this spring, they've been doing basketball. And it's really exciting to see students get so excited when the officers come to the school building and then know them by name. And they always get excited when they can get their ride home in the police car.
Their sanctioned ride home.
Their sanctioned ride home. Great. Yes. Our walkout, our community service project, the Polar Plunge, some cleaning around the school building. You'll have to go check out the slides so you can see the more details. I know we went through those really fast, but wanted to at least just highlight something from this school year, kind of under each one of those areas that's been really unique to this year, things that we were really proud of that have happened so far this year. I also wanted to highlight for you some of the changes that we have coming up for next year, and I know we've talked about this a little bit, and so not all this will be brand new, but just wanted to really highlight our specific changes to 5th and 6th grade next year. And so up on the screen is just showing the difference between what our current 5th grade schedule looks like and and then what we will be moving to next year. So as you can see, our current fifth graders right now are passing on a middle school schedule with 3 core classes and then encore classes. You can see that they have 32 minutes of passing time, and that's with 4 minutes in between classes. They have a 15-minute homeroom right now at the beginning of their day that is shared with 5th through 8th graders. And for next year, that's going to switch to a model that's more like what they are experiencing in 4th grade, where they will be with one teacher. We take away that passing time, and really it's in one classroom, really getting to know that one teacher and doing most of their academics. They still will go out for their encore or their elective classes, which you can see in that time won't change at all. And then we also are going to build in some recess time around their lunchtime. So currently their lunchtime is 30 minutes with not any time focused on recess or some physical activity, and that'll be built into their lunchtime. But otherwise, you can still see that the time as far as academics goes kind of increases as far as what they're doing per time. And then we also have some win time, which stands for what I need time, and that'll be a time that teachers can really narrow in on. Is it acceleration? Is it students that need more additional help? Is that math? Is that reading? And maybe there's some combination of things that teachers are really passionate about teaching, and students can really get to pick some of the times that they, what they are getting during that 30-minute time. So it's a real flex time for the teachers to be able to dig deeper and or allow students to be able to do some accelerated time. And then changes to our 6th grade. Currently, our 6th grade students, as you can see on the one side, again, they are passing on an 8-period day, just like our 7th and 8th graders, 42-minute classes. They are on a true middle school schedule. And we are going to move our 6th grade next year to what our current 5th grade schedule is, where they will have 3 longer core classes, which cuts down on the amount of time that they are moving in between classes. It cuts down on that transition time. The teachers will work in 2 teams of 3. So they will have a math teacher, a reading or language arts teacher, and then a science social studies teacher that'll do that together. So 3 teachers on one team, and we will have 2 teams in 6th grade, which really, right now we have the 32 minutes of passing time still built in, and the teachers are really talking about moving away from passing time completely for 6th grade also, and saying like this team will pass and they'll just exchange classes when it's time, and then this team will do the same thing, so that they're not all in the hallway at once, and or we're not losing any academic time in the hallways at passing time. And within their teams, they will be able to kind of figure that out. And then they also will have a built-in focused literacy time, and right now, currently in 5th grade, that's based on, it started off based on fluency, on their fluency scores, then we moved it to comprehension the second half of the year. And so we will do the same thing for 6th grade next year, where it's all 6 teachers will be teaching a focused literacy class, an additional 2 reading teachers that will have the students that really need the more intervention-based reading, and a lot smaller classes, really giving them that focused literacy instruction for 37 minutes during their day. Our homeroom time for 6th grade is going to move, where the 6th grade teachers are going to be able to have their own 6th grade students, and they're going to use this as some flex time around their lunch hour, and they would like to be able to use that for reassessment, and again, or is that some win time where they can really do some kind of, more accelerated stuff and or more intervention stuff, use it for some social emotional learning time. So they're going to really be able to kind of flex that homeroom time throughout their day based on what they need. So we're really excited about this change for 5th and 6th grade. It's a really major change for both of those grade levels. One of the really main focuses of the schedule change is that our current 4th grade students, the transition to 5th grade should be much easier. It takes away kind of all the scariness of middle school, and they will really know that they will be with a teacher all day. It's going to look pretty much the same as 4th grade does, other than you're in a new building. We'll really spend 5th grade next year getting to know the middle school, getting to know the building, getting to know all of our support staff, really being able to have that really deep relationship with their core teacher. And that deeper relationship with teachers will also happen in 6th grade if they're down to 3 core teachers and they're really spending a lot longer time with their actual team of teachers versus moving throughout 8 teachers throughout the day. It gives a lot of flexibility in the instruction time for teachers, and especially in 5th grade, they'll have the ability to kind of, flex if we're going to do a longer social studies unit or a longer science lab, or kind of what they need during the day. And then same with 6th grade with 80-minute classes versus right now they're 42-minute classes. That gives them a lot longer time for math, reading, science, social studies, so that they can really dig deeper into the curriculum. And then the win time is something else. We're really excited about the win time. We are also talking about win time for our 7th and 8th grade students, and we're not going to make a lot of changes to 7th and 8th grade. We really want to focus all of our resources and really support our 5th and 6th grade in those changes. But win time is something we are looking at adding for our 7th and 8th grade also, and we're going to use the homeroom time that we currently already have built in to turn it into a win time. And we are going to be visiting some other schools coming up here in the next couple weeks to really look at how other schools are using their win time so that we can hopefully build it in for our 7th and 8th grade students also.
Well, good report. I know middle school, it doesn't matter what school you're at, it's just a hard age. But really pleased with the changes that you've are putting in place, and how you've listened to parents around the issues that they're struggling with. So look forward to seeing how it goes.
Thanks, yeah, we're very
In the
excited
fall.
about the changes. We're really excited.
And I
Yeah.
these ladies have done, along with the rest of the leadership team, at the middle school, an incredible job of staffing, because they had some reduction in enrollment that we needed to deal with this year for the next school year. That's not always, it's never an easy piece to do. And then coupled with the 5th and 6th grade changes. So just kudos to them and the whole BLT team and SOTA team that you have there, because people have really worked hard to make this happen and are excited for next fall. So
Great,
Thanks.
thank
Thank
you
you.
for your
I
work.
did actually have one other question. Now, currently, we have the 5th graders pretty much blocked in one small area. Will we be doing the same thing for the 6th graders also?
Yeah, actually, we're really looking at being able to, we're looking at currently right now, eight 5th grade classrooms. So we actually should be able to move them around the corner and get them almost all in that front hallway, which then we can move 6th grade down and get them also down in their own area with 6 classrooms. They should have their own little hallway, actually, which would be separated by that middle M hallway, kind of that sideways hallway. There'll be a separation right there between what could be mixed grade level classes, like, the readings, languages, things like that are mixed grade level, and then around the corner for 7th and 8th grade to really, hopefully, bring some separation between the grade levels.
Nice.
very nice.
Good job. Great.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Next, I will invite up Amina Oftedal for an AVID presentation.
She has friends too.
Friends.
And just for our listeners, if you could spell the acronym AVID so that
Yes.
people know what that means.
Actually, we have it right there on the front
Right there.
screen for us.
Look at that.
AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and it is a real significant program that we are super excited to be able to share with you tonight. Joining me this evening is Ms. Liz Jensen and Ms. Ashley Grolke. Liz serves as the coordinator and AVID teacher at the high school, and Ashley serves as the AVID coordinator and AVID elective teacher at the middle school. I'm going to turn it over to you, ladies.
Awesome. So I'm Liz Jensen. Hi. I am at Fridley High School. Like she said, I'm not only one of our AVID elective teachers, I also teach our HL Lang and Lit classes and have taught a variety of other things throughout my time
And
at Fridley.
HL is?
Oh, I'm sorry, higher level language and literature class. However, we have a really
This
great.
is an acronym-free zone.
I know. It's difficult for me. With our expanding program with AVID, we're also really encouraged by our IB for All that we're doing. We feel like they fit really well together. So that's one thing that I'm really excited to share with you tonight, to kind of show you later at a time, but now how our AVID program is really helping to facilitate that. So AVID's mission, the whole reason that we started this program 6 years ago, it's a school-wide system now, they've gotten away from the term program, is really to look at closing the achievement gap. So their mission, as you can see, is to close the achievement gap by preparing all students for college readiness and success in a global society. We've continued this program now we're in our 6th year, which is pretty amazing. So just a little background on what AVID is if you're not quite sure. So AVID is a 4-year college preparatory program. It's dedicated to supporting students in the academic middle. It prepares students for advanced coursework like that HL language and literature course I was talking about, or any of our other rigorous courses at Fridley, which in my opinion is pretty much all of them. So college eligibility and then college acceptance. So I'm gonna let Ashley take over on this one for you.
For us, AVID is strategies for academic success in the classroom. So really working on creating goal setting and time management skills with our students, working on organization and note taking, something where we solidly actually work through each of those skill sets for our students. College awareness, planning for it, visiting colleges, reflecting, and the application process when they're in high school. Also WICR, so our acronym for writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. All of the different strategies and components we are also then teaching our staff at the two buildings to increase that within all of our classrooms, not just in the AVID elective class. ACT and SAT preparation, structured tutorials, and then in addition to that is also the social emotional learning for our students.
Yeah, I just got a quick question. Do
Please do.
you get a credit for being an AVID?
Yes, you do. It is an AVID, it's an AVID elective course.
Okay.
So our courses are really highly structured. Tuesdays and Thursdays at both the middle school and the high school, we have tutorial time where we have 2 tutors that come in and work with our students. And what the students do is they come prepared on Tuesdays and Thursdays with a question that they don't understand, something they can't quite figure out. They're really cool. And the kids sit basically in the same way that we are now. So they sit in a horseshoe around, and the student presenter goes up to the board, as you saw in the previous slide, and they explain their problem. So for example, I had a student who was writing an assessment for history called a raft. He had to think of the role, the audience, all of the different pieces of this. He had no idea where to start. Really, we found out he did know where to start, but after the students asked him questions, because they're not allowed to say, oh, this is how you write a raft. They have to ask him questions. He has to go out and get his notes out. He has to look through it. He has to think through it, and he has to respond to the questions in an appropriate manner. It had nothing to do with him not writing the raft. He didn't understand part of a war that happened in Cuba, and I'm gonna forget all the pieces here. Sorry to my history friends back there. But that really was it. So the really cool thing is that the kids come and they're like, I'm so confused. I don't understand what I'm doing. A, they come away with confidence because they realize they do know what they're doing. B, they figure out how to work with their peers on those days. It's not the only time that we do that. On Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays at both the high school and the middle school, we spend a significant amount of time on writing strategies, on inquiry, like I said, in other ways. So doing things like Socratic seminars, debates. We call them philosophical chairs in AVID. They're another cool form of debate. On organization, and then on critical literacy as well. So our reading skills are really, really important. We want to make sure that each and every kid in AVID is completely prepared for college, so that when they're taking their college entrance tests, they are testing into college level courses. So they're not on that line. So the part of AVID, if you go to the next slide, well, we'll go through this one and then I'll come back to this, but the way that we choose our AVID elective students that are in that program is really unique. However, if you go back to the last one, the thing that I really, really love about this program at where we're at is the expansion that we're at. So we had it at the high school. Last year we graduated our second 4-year class. This year we graduate our third, but more importantly this year, well, that's important. My kids are probably watching at some point and they're gonna be like, excuse me? We have this phenomenal program this year that's moved into our 7th and 8th grade, and we've really seen it really take over. Our 9th graders that are in AVID this year, about 60% of them were in AVID last year. Their teachers noticed that right off the bat. They saw those kids, they understood the terminology the kids were using, and they were prepared. They were coming organized as freshmen, they were coming with planners, they were coming with supplies, and they were okay with talking to their teachers. I've taught high school now for 11 years, and I taught middle school for a couple years before that. Freshmen struggle. They're scared when they get there. The kids are big. The teachers are there. We seem intimidating. They don't want to ask the questions. They don't want to move forward. They don't want to. Our AVID kids were like, hi, what are the assignments due? Do you have an agenda on the board? Where are things at? They were right there asking the questions they needed for success. Now, our goal is to expand those skills to every single student in our building. And the way that we do that is through what you see up here. So like Ashley had talked about before, that instruction. So our entire staff is utilizing our core strategies and our tools for all students. At the high school specifically, we have what we call our tapestry model, so that we take all of our big things that we're working on this year. So for example, CLR, AVID, our MTSS, and also our activities, because we know that kids stay at Fridley when they're involved, and we want our kids to be involved. We take all 4 of those things because they all go together really, really well, and we make sure that all of our staff understand that and that they have access to all of our resources. So we do that through our Tiger Times, we do that through our professional development, we do that through our Summer Institute learning. and we're constantly talking about different strategies. With our systems for professional development, there is a huge layer of data collection and analysis, which over and over again, and I'm sure Amina has shared with you our AROI stuff, that's pretty important to us, that return on investment. And then our leadership, just that shared teacher leadership at both the high school and the middle school with our 8th grade program, and Ashley is our 8th grade team lead. So she's been really pivotal in that. And then again, really just enhancing that college and career readiness pathway for every student and educating our families on what those pathways look like. You all, I think, were given a district bulletin, if you didn't get one at your homes previously, and some of my lovely AVID seniors were in there, and I wanted to go over just a couple of what I think is a really cool idea here. So we have our AVID by the numbers right here. This quote, I think this was from Iman, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly right here, but it says, it's nice to know you're not alone going through all this. Everyone is basically in the same situation. We're all trying to get ready for college. She got accepted to the University of Boston, Massachusetts. Today she just found out she got another $6,000. She has $52,000 in scholarships to go there to be a pediatrician. And it was one of those moments where we all just stood there like, that's a lot of money. It's a lot. So that's a renewing scholarship. She earned that because she worked really hard. And that's what we hope to see our 7th and 8th graders start to look at, and they start to see that hope and why they want to be successful. So this year we have 126, it's actually 128. We have 2 students that were not counted in that. We have 72 students at our middle school. By AVID students self-reporting, 98% of those students were first-generation college students. That's a pretty big deal to us. 100% of our AVID students have graduated on time, and 100% applied to and were accepted to either a 2 or a 4-year institution. It is really awesome. And in fact, all of our students have actually been accepted to 4-year institutions, but they choose because we want them to make the best decision for their families and their finances and their goals. So some of them choose to go to a 2-year college. It's a great option for everyone. I went to one. Yep. So I kind of went over this a little bit, and Ashley touched on this. These are huge things that we work on. The financial aid piece with our families can be a barrier, a huge barrier, so we really spend a lot of time on that. Many of our students also get scholarships because colleges look at our AVID kids and they go, you know what you're doing already. You're going to fit in here. We know you're going to be successful. So every AVID senior has done the things that you've seen here. And then our AVID middle school expansion, Ashley's going to touch on.
All right, so currently we have AVID elective for our 7th and 8th grade students. So again, that's that academic middle in this class. We have as organization is our school-wide focus for just strictly the 7th and 8th grades, where we have the binder system and planners. So each student has a binder with dividers. The teachers of their core subjects are going through doing binder checks, and as the staff and students learning through the process of cleaning their belongings and making sure that they have enough materials. For the next school year, we're really excited to move this towards our 6th grade. So creating this space within our 6th, 7th, and 8th grades where we are having organized system, all grades using the same planner checks and binder checks so that there's a consistency and a high need for, or high desire to have that rigor within just our organization alone, as well as further training for our teachers to make sure everyone is prepared and ready to go with this system. Yeah, that's really it.
So we stood here thinking about how we were going to bring our students to you and how we were going to bring some of our teachers to you. But our students have jobs. They care for their siblings, and getting up to school at 7:30 on a Tuesday night did not come high on their priority list. However, they were really interested in sharing some of their stories with you, and so were a few of our teachers. So I have a really old phone that took these videos, so I apologize, it's a little fuzzy, but we made a video, and this does really focus on the high school right now. Next year, we would really love to show you what's going on at the middle school in our AVID program, but we also wanted to give them a moment to continue their school-wide. So we have that, hopefully. We have it in a variety of formats, so we're hoping that one of them works.
what I see being an issue for Fridley students is that a lot of students don't have student skills. And student skills help so much as far as organization and advocating for yourself, and those are things that I see in AVID students. And so with AVID students, looking around a classroom, I'll see AVID students having their binders organized. They know how to come up and ask questions. And with a lot of our Fridley students kind of live in the present. And so living in the present, they're thinking about how they can get through today, their families as well, and not always thinking about where they're going to be 3 years down the road. Where AVID honors their present and helps them, but it also gets them thinking about their future and where they're going to be. So in my opinion, AVID is one of the most valuable programs I've seen in my 19 years of teaching.
I've noticed since AVID began here at Fridley, my 9th graders, it's very nice at the beginning of the year, the first few days of class, they will come and formally introduce themselves. So I establish a relationship with them right away, and they request to sit in the front if they aren't already there. And then the next piece with 9th graders I've noticed is once they get into the note-taking, the AVID note-taking strategies, I've noticed they take much more initiative, and they're much more independent on that, and they tend to take much better notes, and I've noticed their results are better. When you get to the academic achievement piece, they do better as a result of being more engaged and more responsible for their own learning. I've also noticed as we've had the program for a while, the 11th graders that I teach in the diploma history class also are much better note takers by that point. They don't need extra assistance. They're much more independent, and they tend to do better, I've noticed, on their exams. So I highly support AVID.
I have seen AVID have a positive impact on my students in a number of ways. There exists a population of students that need extra help with some of the skills that they would need to attain a college level performance. And I've noticed that on top of AVID taking advantage of a lot of best practices in relation to student engagement and metacognition, it also seems to pretty effectively target this population of students to help get them the thinking and the reasoning and the self-disciplinary skills to succeed should they decide to go on to some sort of higher level education after high school.
What impact has AVID had on you as a student?
As a student, AVID has made me feel like I just need to do better than almost all the kids in my grade. Because I'm an AVID student, I need to represent my class in the right way. It's pushed me to do all my work and to be on time, and we get a lot of work days, so there's no excuse to not have all of your work done. For the ACTs, I felt more prepared than a lot of the students because we were constantly talking about it. We did a lot of practice in class, and I know for a fact if I was not an AVID, I was not going to have the amount of practice that I did, so I'm very thankful for that. Tutorials make me very open-minded because I always have to think about having a question, making sure if I didn't understand something that I would note it so that I would be able to get my tutorials done. And overall, AVID has just made me a better, more put-together student.
It made me more organized, made me open up to people and like talk to people I never really thought I would, especially with the AVID conference, and like it keeps me on track and like make me get to the college route because it's kind of a struggle to get there, so it gave me that boost of energy that I needed and everything.
One impact I know that AVID has had on me as a student is I know I wouldn't be as good as a worker like in the classroom if I didn't have AVID. I know some of the kids that I grew up with are not doing as well as me or don't know the same stuff as me or didn't get that information earlier on as me.
What plans do you have for next year?
I am attending a four-year university, Wisconsin River Falls, and I plan to study computer science.
I think that AVID actually gave me a safe space to like be more acknowledged about what college is about and like giving me the tools and the tips about what to expect in college and what like financial aid is and like all the things that I really didn't know before I joined AVID, and how it is like now that I'm going to college next year, it's like I'm ready, and it gives me that confidence to, I don't know, to do good in college and achieve my goals. And yeah.
AVID has had a great impact on me in my academic life, in my social life. It has made me open to new things and helped me clear obstacles that I have not been able to clear before. So I feel like AVID is a very good impression on any new students coming in or students who just need help with that extra further push.
AVID has helped me realize my priorities. It's helped me realize that friends, guys, cliques, boys, they just aren't important, and your grades are, your future is. So, and AVID has also helped me overcome struggles like my concussions that I've had and just staying on track. So, yeah.
Okay, I am Justice Jones. I'm a 2016 graduate from Fridley High School. I was an AVID for 3 years. I'm currently at Augsburg University. I'm a sophomore. I would say that AVID helped me a lot because not only did it teach me like college prep skills as far as being able to actually get involved in a group of people and work through a problem. As far as tutorials go, I actually use tutorials in my college classes, which it sounds like I'm lying, but I'm not. And learning how to properly take notes, how to summarize your notes and actually go through them and study them was really helpful for me. And then I would say it's not only like the technical stuff of being able to go to college, but also AVID was really helpful because I had like a teacher who actually cared about me and pushed me to be great, and now I'm capable of being great, and that's what AVID taught me.
So Justice, that last woman that you just saw there, the reason she was at school is because she is doing a double licensure for art and English. And she is doing her pre-service hours with Cheryl Berghart on Fridays. And it has been really cool to see her back in the school. So what we're really excited about is our expansion of this program. And we're really excited to spread these strategies now that we feel like we have a really strong AVID core throughout the building. As our middle school does an amazing job, we really hope to push that into the high school for 9th grade with those organizational skills and making sure that our 9th graders feel just as much success in their 9th grade year as we want them to in their 7th, 8th, well, 6th and 5th for that matter. So in all the grades, but we really want to see that expand and move up. So yeah, do you have questions for us?
No, you have very thorough presentation. I don't know if there are other
Is this
questions.
a program that they have to apply for?
Yes. So the way that we do this, so AVID really focuses on a number of data points. And we know, based on our academic return on investment, who the AVID elective course works for. So first, in 8th grade and in 7th grade, the kids are introduced to AVID through either my students coming back and talking like they did this year, or through their teachers and their dean. Then they have the opportunity to apply. Now, AVID students needing that individual determination push at that point, we also do a really big, it's like our AVID data pull day. Take the kids' names off completely. We take all the identifiers off of the student, and then we look at them based on different things. So we look for kids that are in the academic middle. We look at kids who might be first-generation college students that have reported that. Students that teachers also recommend that see, this is a kid that really has potential but needs a little bit of extra support. The cool thing with our AVID elective kids, though, is after they get that support, they really are sharing it in their classes with their other students. So yes, they apply, and then they actually interview with us. The interview is kind of like, you know, this is not study hall. You know that we're going to be pushing you to excel academically. You know that you're in here because you want to go to college. And at that point, I mean, 8th graders are like, sometimes, I'm going to go to college, and they have no idea what that means. And that's okay. They shouldn't. They're 13, they're 14, they're 12 now in 7th grade. All we want to know is that they want to be successful and that they've kind of got their eye on that prize eventually. So, and there is a process for review if they're not successful and all that too.
A couple of things. First of all, I think there is the school-wide process, which is great, but there's also the osmosis that you talked about that happens in the classroom. So other kids watching them are very successful as well. And she kind of glossed over it at the very beginning, but Liz has also been very instrumental with the IB and AVID and the IB for All, and she is has done workshops and is sought after by not only the IB but AVID in the combination of why this is such an important piece, that the rigor is there, and then the skill and the strategies that we give kids through AVID. And then lastly, you recognize this woman because she was a star in the previous one. That
I was going to ask for her autograph.
May have forgotten that was happening that day.
Yeah, so we know that some days your lessons don't always go the best, and that's okay.
That's what I tell my students. Some days we have bad days. You know what we do? We get back up and we try again. We come back. And I am pretty honest with them when things don't go well. They know.
Yeah, and thank you to the two of you and all the work that you do to provide leadership, but also this year is the first year that Amina Oftedal has become our AVID director. And I think somebody asked her in the fall, like, did you get a new job?
Yeah, they did.
And this is like other duties as assigned. And so Melissa Jordan from Northwest Suburban has always been our AVID director, but given the expansion of the program, we really needed to bring that in-house. And so Amina's done a fabulous job of that.
I can't speak highly enough of how much having more support within our Fridley district has helped this program. It's helped with our administrators understanding more of what we need. It's helped me with understanding more what we need. It helps that I can stop by and ask Amina questions and email. Melissa is spectacular, but she wasn't a Fridley person. So a lot of those questions we had to kind of pause, hold, find the 3 people that we needed to talk to, and then come back. So really, as we expand this program and really showing what we want for our Fridley students, which is ultimately a success, no matter what pathway they choose, but they have the opportunities, we really needed that. So it's been really beneficial for us.
Awesome, great. Well, you have full support of the board. I know this is a program we talk about and has a lot of cheerleaders from this bench. I would like to see all kids have those skills. It's really valuable. So keep up the great work, and thank you for the great presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, less exciting. We're going to move on to the business action items. We have a large agenda for business action items tonight, a number of resolutions. We'll start off with our customary resolution for accepting gifts. We are fortunate enough to be able to each month give thanks to those in our community who are supporting our Fridley School District. So it is our board policy to establish, to do a resolution to accept the gifts each month. The following persons donated to Stevenson Elementary a total of $1,500 for the Mississippi Watershed Management Organization for a rain and butterfly garden.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Riddle. All those in favor, please say aye.
It's a resolution.
Aye.
We actually have to do a roll call.
And we will have the clerk do the roll call.
Sorry.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Resolution passed. Our next resolution is, I'm going to direct to Jennifer Klossman, who's going to just review this with us before we take a vote on it.
Thank you. So the first resolution that I'm going to go over with you guys is the resolution to terminate and non-renew teachers that are non-tenured, so our probationary teachers. So the list we have before you for the probationary teachers for non-renewal are Tamara Baker, Abigail Berry, Justine Becker, Christopher Bondi, Jeffrey Bozier, Jeremy Carlson, Pablo Cortez, Beverly Dahl, Damon George, Gina Gunderson, Andrew Hansen, Philip Hunterdas, Chloe Jackson, Stephanie Clark, Hannah Knipp, Andrew Lance, Maria Lindros Reby, Joanne Liu, Michael Mack, Matthew Nalapka, Jamie Oliveira, Michael Paulson, Brian Plessel, Philip Ryerson, Stephanie Roloff, Jill Schaefer, Agner Wegner, and Michael Williams. And the reasons Peggy's already alluded to several is that the right sizing with the middle school with the enrollment and needing to adjust the staff. So some of those non-renewals are for that. Some are performance reasons, some are late hires, and then some are on variances and require reposting of positions for Minnesota licensure requirements.
Move the resolution.
Second. Moved by Sampson, seconded by Pruito. If the clerk would call the roll, please. Aye.
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 Resolution passed. Thank you. And you have another resolution
I
for us,
do.
so you can just stay right up there.
I can stay and I'll be quicker on this one. So this one is resolution for discontinuing and reducing programming and positions. So with this one, there's an adjustment within our OT programming. So the resolution is to reduce our OT staffing by 1.0 FTE. The other companion piece to this is reduction within the paraprofessional staffing. We will be Laura's done a review of IEP needs and will be readjusting staffing needs to accommodate other needs that the students have and reducing the paraprofessional support given the needs outlined in the IEPs.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Thornton. If the clerk would call the roll, please. Aye.
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 Resolution passed. And you're up for one more, Ms. Kassman.
Yes, so the final resolution is kind of the companion piece just to the prior one with regards to the OT position. With that being all of our OTs are tenured teachers, we need to do a resolution to place a tenured teacher on unrequested leave of absence. So in this case, it's to place Rachel Adams on unrequested leave.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Pruito. Clerk, please call the roll. Aye.
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 Resolution passed. Our next resolution, if Matthew Hammer, if you could walk us through this one, please.
Yeah, so tonight we have a resolution in front of you to approve the termination of our Fridley Community Center agreement with the city of Fridley. We've had a long-standing agreement with the city of Fridley dating back to 1996, and based on a review of needs from both parties, we're in agreement that we should terminate our agreement. So before you, we have a resolution that would be in effect as of June 1st, 2018.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Thornton. Clerk, please call the roll. Aye.
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 Resolution passed. And you have one more resolution
so
for us.
we have before you approval of our FCC project bids. We received 9 bidders. The bid tab is attached. The resolution's a little different than a typical resolution because the award will be going to the second low bidder. The first low bidder, Gopher LLC, has requested that their bid be withdrawn. We have a withdraw agreement with them, and that puts the second low bidder construction results in line, and we're asking for the approval of base bid, alternate 1, and alternate 3 to 9.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Thornton. Clerk, call the roll, please. Aye.
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 The resolution passed. Next, we have a motion to approve the superintendent contract. So I'm just going to set this up a little bit. By way of background, it's important to understand, for the public to understand the process that the board undertook before deciding to offer this contract to the next superintendent of Fridley Schools. And outside of setting the district's budget, the hiring of the superintendent of the district is really one of the most important roles that a school board has. And so we took that very seriously. So I'm just going to outline briefly the process that we went through. In January, Dr. Flathman gave us her announced that she will retire at the end of the year. So she submitted that to us. Peggy has been with the school district for 13 years, nine of those as the superintendent of Fridley Schools. And we'll talk about her leaving another time. Just for the public to know, we needed to move very swiftly when we received her resignation, as there were over 50 district superintendent positions open in the state of Minnesota at the time that we were also looking. So we knew the competition was going to be fierce, and we knew we needed to get after it very quickly. So the school board decided to be very involved in this process, and by that I mean we decided not to hire a search firm. That's important for two reasons. For one, it saved the district thousands of dollars, but number two, it allowed members of the board to fully engage with our applicants and our candidates and really get to know who it was that we were going to forge a working relationship with moving forward. And so running that search ourselves gave us that firsthand knowledge of that. Board members were involved in every single aspect of the search, from writing of the job description and the questions, reviewing applications, evaluating the candidates' interactions with staff, doing the interviews, attending site visits with our top candidate in their district, so we could see how they interact with other people, as well as see how they interact with staff and students in our own district as they toured our facilities as well. And so today, we are very pleased to announce that the Fridley School Board has unanimously selected Dr. Kim Heil to be the Fridley Public Schools' next superintendent. Dr. Heil stood out in her leadership abilities and her qualifications. Her accomplishments over her 25 years in multiple leadership roles in education, and her vision for raising student achievement that is very well aligned with the Fridley School District. I had sat in on every single aspect of Dr. Heil's selection process, and words like integrity, collaborator, passion for every individual child's success, great relationship builder were used by every colleague in every reference, and by people who also observed her interviews, people from the public that sat in on her interviews. So Dr. Heil comes to us from Osseo area schools. She currently is an assistant superintendent where she co-leads the Division of Leadership, Teaching and Learning, and that includes the departments of educational equity, student support services, curriculum, instruction and educational standards, and research, assessment, and accountability. So Dr. Heil's contract will begin July 1st with the Fridley School District, although I know she's already picking Dr. Flathman's brain and is very excited to be joining us, and we look forward to her joining our school community and being our next superintendent leader. So with that, do I have a motion to accept the contract for Dr. Kim Heil as superintendent?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Pruito, seconded by Thornton. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried.
I certainly want to thank Jennifer for all of her help for that, as well as you, Mary Kay. The extra time that you both put in through this entire process was very much appreciated. So,
thank you.
I second that.
Wasn't a motion.
It felt like resolution.
Oh, it was a motion.
Yeah, it was definitely a motion.
Next, I'll bring up Jael McLemore for a second reading of adoption of policies.
Policy 904 is the district's policy on distribution of materials on school district property by non-school persons. So we frequently get requests from external vendors, service providers, and local community organizations to send information home with students for our families to just advertise and let the community know about the services they provide for our students. And in the past couple of months, our district has or is in the process of transitioning completely to a digital flyer system management that requires additional clarity for our external vendors to be able to understand the process of approving their flyer and the guidelines that meet our district policy in terms of the content and information that we allow them to share with our families. So this policy hasn't changed that much. We have just taken the procedural aspects of it and put that in a different document that will accompany this and will be posted on our website. We have also added a disclaimer there that is highly recommended by the service provider who is managing our online flyer system, just to be able to say to our external vendors that whatever information they are sending out is not endorsed and supported by our school district and is not printed at school district expenses. So no additional changes here. We submit this to you tonight for approval.
Thank you, Jael. As a parent, I really like the digital flyers. They're much easier to manage and see, and it's a nice platform. Is there a motion to accept the second reading and adoption of policies?
Motion to accept. Second.
Motion by Riddle, seconded by Pareto. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next up, we have the consent agenda. This is the regular school board business that takes place on a monthly basis. And within the consent agenda, we have the minutes of the school board business meeting and work session held on March 20th, the monthly financial reports, the new contracts, amendments, leave of absence, terminations, resignations, and retirements, the ABE lease, the retiree incentive MOU, the insurance for married spouses MOU, the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council grant for $5,000 for summer production of Sister Act by Fridley Community Theater. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Moved. So moved. Second.
Moved by Sampson, seconded by Pareto. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. I'll invite Dr. Flathman to share student enrollment
In your
information.
packet is the April 1st numbers for our school district. There are 20 less students than March 1st. This is not unusual at this time of year. And I also will let you know that, we reduced our revised budget numbers a bit in January. And so this, I think will probably be very close to our revised number. The man sitting next to me is a little nervous about that, but I think we'll be very close to that when it comes to the end of the school year. However, these numbers are very important to us, as next month we will give you the beginning of the assumptions and kind of a draft of that, which will begin to be built for the adopted budget that you will do in in June.
Thank you. Matthew Hammer, the first reading of policy 902 on the use of school district facilities.
So with the joint termination of our FCC agreement, with that, we needed to make some policy changes in 902, use of school district facilities. It revolves around one area, our Class 1 government agencies. It removes the Fridley Parks and Recreation Department, cities and state government conducting activities primarily serving the school district to classification 2 activities, and they will pay Class 2 rates.
Thank you for that information, and we'll see that
Come back again in
next month. All right. Reports from school board members. Mr. Riddle for the Northwest Suburban Integration School District Joint Powers Board.
Well, the main thing we discussed in March was we had a presentation by John Warren, and he heads up the Step Up Mentorship Program, which is a very wonderful program for for males that are at risk, basically. It's been a very good program for them to learn their leadership skills, a lot like we talked about AVID. These would be the students that would be taking the AVID kind of courses, but maybe wouldn't have because they may not fall in that middle curriculum area. So these step-up mentorship program that he's been running for the past several years has just been growing by leaps and bounds. He keeps crossing his fingers, but he's telling us he's going to hit probably 1,000 students between the 7 districts coming up in the next year and a half. So good luck to him on that. Other than that, we're hoping to have an update on the Educators Rising also, but unfortunately they weren't able to make the meeting that night. And then we also, the final main piece that we had talked about was the magnet lottery. The first round finished up. They actually did round 2 for the tier 2 folks at in the middle of March. I believe that they had roughly about 1,250 applicants, of which they were able to place 860 of those students in magnet schools throughout the consortium. So.
Okay, thank you for that report. Next, the Northeast Metro 916 board meeting. I will report out on this. The 916 Joint Powers Agreement, they're making some updates to that, primarily to clarify how to withdraw from the agreement should a member district want to do that. The language that's in there is quite confusing right now, and so they're just shoring that up a bit. There was a psychiatric facility to be built in Forest Lake, and the Forest Lake City Council voted that down. So the company that's building that is looking for another location, and the reason this fits into 916 is they've asked 916 district to be the educational partner, so they'll be providing all the educational services in that facility. The facility's a really good idea, as there's always shortage of beds, but this facility will have day treatment in it, and we'll have some other components so they can keep up with their education while their students are placed there as well. So a new facility location is being sought out, and they have some other potentials for that, which would continue to be in the 916 service area. So that would be a benefit should that happen. We'll be voting next month on the Ramsey County Attorney's Office has requested 916 to participate in a data sharing project that they're doing. The goal of the project is to prevent incarceration, that the Ramsey County Attorney's Office wants to decrease their business, and they're trying to get a better handle on what are the early predictors for students so we can catch that early so they don't ever end up in the criminal justice system. What this project would do is, if 916 votes to join it or to participate, is it would give the Ramsey County Attorney's Office access to all the data going backwards of any student that has been there, so they can start to, and it would go down to the elementary age, which is, there's some data at the teenage levels that we have, but we don't have that data going all the way back. So we can, they can hopefully glean some information to look at what are the early predictors so that schools and police forces can start looking at those things and recognizing them early and try to get early intervention on sooner. So there, of course, are a number of data privacy issues with this. If this were approved, this is only one of 2 programs like this in the country. They received a grant for an organization that specializes in this kind of data privacy work and research. So there, of course, are a lot of questions about data privacy and how far back do you go, and if the member district withdraws, what does that do for the does that take the member district out of it? And so working through some of those things, but 916 will be voting on whether or not we'll participate. If all the partners agree to sign on, there will be a Joint Powers Board for that project as well, and so there will be representation on that. And lastly, there is an open house for Pancalo Education Center, which is in Lake Elmo, which is part of the 916 School District, at 9 a.m. tomorrow for anyone who's interested in going through that facility and understanding what they do there. Association of Metropolitan School Districts.
Yeah, I attended this meeting, which was April 13th, last Friday. Scott Kuhnquist gave an update with legislation and what's happening at this point, and of course, a lot of that is still up in the air. But the main presentation that day was by Rick Kaufman. He is a specialist in communication and in kind of safety for the Bloomington School District. 20 years ago, he was in Columbine School District. And so he has really taken both the communication piece and the school safety piece, and he did an incredible presentation to the members there that day. Rick has done this presentation to a variety of people. A number of our staff have heard him in other areas. So his presentation was a leadership challenge, what leaders need to know about school safety. The good news about going through this presentation is that I feel like we have done many of the pieces that are recommended here. However, you can never be you can never go through this stuff enough. So this is a document that we will be looking at our district safety and security meeting as well. But Rick, he kind of, in our world, he kind of takes the world of our communications director and our buildings and grounds and our police and kind of mushes it together. And he does a fabulous job. And we're very lucky to have him here in Minnesota.
Sounds like a great presentation. So last on our agenda is future school board dates. Schools for Equity in Education is April 20th at the Radisson Hotel in Roseville from 9 to 12:30. The Northeast Metro 916 board meeting is May 2nd at 6 p.m. at Bel Air School. AMSD board meeting is May 4th from 7 to 9 at the Ties Conference Center. The next Fridley Public Schools board meeting is May 15th with a work session at 5:30 in City Conference Room A, an open forum at 7 p.m., and a business meeting at 7:30 in the City Council chambers. Fridley Public Schools retirement reception is May 16th at 4 p.m. at the Fridley Community Center, and the 60th Scholastic Achievement and Recognition Banquet is May 17th at 6 p.m. For the banquet and 7 p.m. for the recognition ceremony. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Riddle, seconded by Thornton. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 8:43.